and only had one shot attempt in that first half. Another turnover for Utah. Edwards gets it back and threw it down.
He's not waiting for it. He's taking it by force. In the NBA's arena, where giants battle for glory, Anthony Edwards isn't just another contender. He's flying into the ring, grabbing the championship belt out of the hands of legends. He's waiting for no one. Ant wants to be the one who dethrones the kings of this era in front of his childhood idol, the very player who inspired him, who made him who he is today. He's fearlessly going all out against one of the best players of this generation, his idol, Kevin Durant. Talking trash, sweeping the Suns, and stealing the show. He's only 22, but he is ready for this moment. He's taking the throne. He is fearless. What are we witnessing with Anthony Edwards? Does he have a chance to be the best player in the world? It feels like the sky's the limit for this kid. He's been the best player in the playoffs so far, closing out the Suns with just a completely mesmerizing performance. Pure fourth quarter dominance. Dropped 40 points in a series-clinching game in a sweep of the big three Suns stars. One of the greatest crunch-time dunks, highlight blocks, and trash talking. And now, he's facing the reigning champs, Denver Nuggets, the most hyped-up second-round series of the playoffs. He was again the best player on the floor in the first game, dominating on both sides, completely taking over the game with 43 points, 7 rebounds, a steal, and 2 blocks, hitting tough shot after shot, creating space and getting what he wanted at will. He's stronger, faster, and more athletic than everyone out there. The Nuggets have no answer for him. Nobody can guard him. He's a problem. We're not talking about potential anymore. Anthony has made it. He's arrived. He's having his moment, taking the torch from his hero, Kevin Durant, in a way that other stars have done before, like the Kobe with MJ moment.
That's a foul all day long. Oh, I know you ain't talking. I know you ain't talking. Hey, you only got 3 now. I get 6. I would get that foul. You only got 3 now.
Game recognizes game. The student surpassing the teacher moment. He's blossoming before our eyes. He's got the it factor. Everyone has been asking, he's here. You're looking at the new face of the league. A bit Jordan-esque. Superior athleticism, unrelenting competitive spirit, and magnetic charisma. A duel that honestly nobody thought would end like this. No pundit was confident that the Wolves were going to win the series in 4 games. In fact, many of them predicted the Suns to win the series, but Anthony Edwards made them eat their words and proved them all wrong. He completely dominated this game and series. He was far and away the best player on the floor, the alpha dog. His amazing performance was better than all 3 big stars on the Suns. He trusted his teammates and found the open pass when they doubled him. His playmaking was a huge area of growth for him in this series. We all knew he was an incredible 3-way scorer, but the question was how he would react when they threw different defensive looks at him. He rose to the occasion in the most important moment of his career. He made the right play every time, finding the open teammate, and he was locked in on defense, getting up for some monster highlight blocks. He's got that look of a player ready to become the face of the league, but not tomorrow. We're talking about right now.
Oh, Edwards! A signature slam!
I just want to kill everything in front of me, man. That's the main thing. Pretty much. That's all it is to it. I've been sent home twice, so I'm thirsty to get it. So I don't know. I don't think we're gonna come out and BS around.
To understand Edwards' mentality, you have to look at his roots in Atlanta, a city that has shaped his incredible character and hunger for success. From an early age, the city's attitude of striving to rise to the top has permeated Edwards' approach to the game. The capital of the state of Georgia has become a kind of mecca of urban culture today. From Andre 3000 in the 90s to huge names in the contemporary hip-hop scene, Atlanta's streets have always been full of attitude and swag, full of people trying to rise to the top and prove their superiority to the rest, full of hunger for success. The parallels between the city's musical attitude and Anthony Edwards' on-court attitude are present in every move, in every play, in every loose ball. Atlanta made him that way.
Your confidence, where does that come from?
Since I was a kid, I've always been confident in everything I do, and I don't think it's gonna change.
From birth, he was blessed with extraordinary physical talents that set him apart. Ant had the gift of assimilating concepts like a sponge. While his teammates took months to learn new aspects of the game, Anthony only took a few days. That ability made him one of the best football prospects in his home state at the age of 10. Edwards was an incredible running back, but he could also play quarterback and cornerback. If he had his mind set on it, there's a real chance he'd be playing in the NFL today.
I used to play baseball when I was young. Yeah, it'd be hot.
Really? How good a baseball player were you?
I could have went to the MLB.
I am not surprised.
I'm serious, though. You think I'm joking. I'm serious.
No, I love your confidence. What positions did you play?
I played pitcher, shortstop, third base, and center field.
Those are the prime positions.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, you were the best player on your team.
Yes, now we talking. But I was 4th, 5th hitter. You know what that means.
Clean up. Yeah.
Straight clean up on aisle 3. Come get it.
Sounds like you're just an athlete.
Yeah.
But one innocent decision would change his life forever. One day, Anthony saw his brothers playing basketball. The kid fell in love with the sport because it looked like more fun. For that simple reason, he gave up his potential football career to play ball. Ant changed his focus forever, and time has proven it was the right decision. A decision that, by the way, perfectly sums up his mentality. If I want something, I'm going to get it no matter what. It's this attitude that has so many cheering for him. He has this fun confidence about him. What's not to love? Everyone's drawn to his magnetic charisma and electrifying game. Ant is a trash talker. He talks his game. He's a player who has a compelling need to let his opponents know that they are worse than him.
Take an exception to Draymond Green. You know what? You know what's always an appropriate response? Scoreboard. Well, out of the 38th.
He doesn't care who's in front of him. In fact, he prefers the bigger challenges. In a similar fashion to Kobe Bryant or MJ, Ant has an incredibly competitive spirit. He wants to earn the respect of the stars by humiliating them on the hardwood. The scariest thing about his mentality is his lack of fear. His ambition to go all out against the other team's best players shows he has no fear of failure. He's not afraid of what people or the press will think of him. At just 22 years old, when most players are still scratching the surface of their potential, Edwards has boldly proclaimed himself the driving force behind the Timberwolves season. With a crazy confidence hiding his youth, the transcendent talent has put the team on his back, unfazed by the weight of such an immense burden. Even if the blame ends up going to him, he doesn't care. Edwards is an alpha, and he has wanted to prove it since the first day he arrived in the NBA. He's actually an incredible leader, even being so young. He's able to hold his teammates accountable and locked in. If there's anyone his attitude reminds me of, it's Kobe Bryant. Although Anthony has only been in the NBA for 4 seasons, he's already one of the most competitive players in the league. Edwards was blessed with otherworldly athletic abilities from a young age, combined with real toughness and relentless mentality. Few players in NBA history are lucky enough to have both and have the work ethic to take advantage of it. His rare combination of physical gifts and mental toughness set him apart as a truly special player. Remarkably, Anthony's sheer presence has transformed one of the league's historically weakest franchises into a powerhouse. Edwards has only been one of the factors in this process, but he's perhaps the most important. His competitive spirit is a contagious energy on the team, and he has everyone accountable and locked in, especially defensively. It's clear that the Timberwolves completely changed with the arrival of a generational rookie and a talented coach like Chris Finch. The combination of a new franchise player in a new defense-first system has allowed the Timberwolves to win more playoff games against the Phoenix Suns this postseason than in the 17 seasons from 2004 through 2021. Yes, the Wolves had only won 1 playoff game in 17 seasons. Now they're winning their playoff series against one of the more star-studded rosters in the NBA. And Ant is trash-talking one of his favorite players, one of his idols. He's not waiting for it. He's taking the torch by force. But the truth is that the Wolves were a completely malfunctioning franchise before. Their draft decisions have been mostly dire over the last 2 decades. They drafted Ricky Rubio and Johnny Flynn ahead of Steph Curry. They drafted Wesley Johnson ahead of DeMarcus Cousins, Gordon Hayward, or Paul George. They drafted Andrew Wiggins ahead of Joel Embiid. Except for Karl Anthony Towns, whose career has been more or less adequate to that of a player you drafted first overall, their past has been full of misses. Minnesota is not a big attraction for free agency, so they were stuck in a vicious cycle of mediocrity. They had to dig themselves out of a hole through the draft, but they kept missing on picks. But that all changed with their number 1 pick in 2020, with a guard, destined to make NBA history.
With the first pick in the 2020 NBA Draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Anthony Edwards from the University of Georgia.
After Edwards' explosion, it all made sense. The Minnesota Timberwolves changed their president of basketball operations in the summer of 2022 and hired a contender eager to change the direction of the franchise. Within 2 weeks of taking the job, Tim Connolly made a controversial trade in which he acquired the services of perennial Defensive Player of the Year candidate Rudy Gobert, a trade that was harshly criticized by many fans who saw how the team was mortgaging its future for a player who had never been successful in the playoffs. But what Connolly knew that no one else knew is that the team didn't need a star. The star was that 20-year-old player who demonstrated his eagerness to be the alpha dog night in and night out. With Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, Jaden McDaniels, Rudy Gobert, and Mike Conley, the Minnesota Timberwolves have become one of the best teams in the entire NBA. Their record of 56 wins and 26 losses that has allowed them to finish third in the West only proves the spectacular advanced statistics of the team. The Wolves have the most wins in franchise history, thanks to Finch's spectacular defensive system. With a defensive rating of 108.4 points allowed per 100 possessions, they have the best defense in the league by more than 2 points. Their net rating is the third best in the entire NBA, behind only the Boston Celtics and Oklahoma City Thunder. In addition, Minnesota is in the top 10 in the league in effective field goal percentage, rebound percentage, and turnover percentage. Their efficient offense combined with their spectacular defense has made the Timberwolves an incredibly difficult team to beat. And Anthony Edwards is their fearless leader. The team needed a leader. Karl Anthony Towns is a former #1 pick in the draft, but he's never been a great #1. Towns is an incredible second option, but he needs an elite guard next to him, something he hasn't had during his nearly 10-year career. But Edwards has made him a much better player. After the series win the other night, he called out Cat, but in a positive way, building him up by giving him constructive criticism in his own style and charm.
Like the first 3 games, the motherfucker just kept fouling. And tonight, I told him, what did I tell you last game?
He said, yo,
can
you find a way not to foul him? I said, I'm going to try my best.
If you watch the game, every time in the third quarter when we would grow a lead, it's because he's in the game. Because they don't have a matchup for him. I'm like, Cat, we're not going to win game 4 if you foul. I told him yesterday, we're not going to win game 4 if you keep fouling. And you see what he did in the third quarter. You see what he did in the fourth quarter. Like, he's the best offensive player on the team. Like, if he's not in foul trouble, it's a problem for any team that got a guard us because he can stretch the floor, he can post, he can play off the catch, he can pass. I mean, he can do everything. So we just got to keep him from getting in foul trouble, and he's going to be great every night.
Probably because I was trying to play more defense.
I mean, just stop fucking fouling.
Yeah.
This kind of leadership is rare, especially for someone so young. Edwards' unwavering self-belief is contagious, permeating the Timberwolves' locker room and inspiring confidence in his teammates. His lead-by-example approach resonates, as he's a player unafraid to roll up his sleeves and do the gritty work. When you have a leader who backs up his bravado with relentless effort, it galvanizes the entire group. Ant's decisive leadership, coupled with his willingness to get down in the trenches, has been the catalyst for Minnesota. But a mentality like this would be useless without a skill set that allows him to back up his words. Edwards is not just a trash talker. He's a guard with tremendous scoring talent who carries a huge load on offense. In fact, he's the 4th highest usage percentage player in the NBA, behind only Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But what is his secret? How does he manage to score so regularly without slowing down his efficiency? We've all seen his incredible athleticism. His highlights have gone around the world, and every year he surprises us with a new viral dunk that seems impossible. This athleticism is one of the virtues that makes his transition game such a lethal threat. Ant is the 9th player in the entire league with the most possessions in transition this season, with 4.6 per game. Not only that, but Edwards has also scored 1.25 points per possession on these plays, a figure well above average. That means Ant has averaged more than 6 points per game this season in fast break situations. He's a freight train downhill. But in the half-court offense, that's where we see just how special he can be. Ant is excellent in ISO situations. Edwards has been the 6th player in the entire NBA with the most ISOs per game with 4.5. Behind only Doncic, Tatum, Shai, Embiid, and Zion. Also from the low post, which is another surprising strength of his offense. Granted, the volume is still low, but Anthony has been in the 74th percentile in efficiency from the low block. Great players have always been able to master the art of the low post, and Edwards has already shown his intention to do the same.
Is over there, shot clock at 5. Edwards working, leaning, spinning, shot, sticks it!
It's kind of funny. Everyone keeps talking about how the game is advancing and players are doing more and more difficult things that are not typical for players of his size. In the pace and space era, defensive systems have pushed out some of the play styles that dominated the league for the last few decades. But Ant, oblivious to that, has made another decision. In many ways, Anthony Edwards seems like a player from another era. Honestly, his play style is really similar to Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan. His footwork, mastery of the mid-range pull-ups, fadeaways, bank shots, and explosive dunks remind me of their game. In today's game, those long, tough twos are considered a bad shot, but Ant is able to hit them consistently. Somehow, Ant has brought this style of play back into fashion. His game is so aesthetically pleasing. He's flying out there with ridiculous athleticism, dunking on everyone. Edwards has the style of play of an early 21st century superstar. He has Kobe traits. He has Tracy McGrady traits. And he even has Vince Carter traits. I'm not talking about only his athleticism. I'm talking about his technical ability. The guard's ability to shoot over his opponents in almost any context reminds me only of a handful of players. And it's one of the skills that has helped him to be considered one of the top players in the world. In the era of wings and centers, in which the best players in the league are often huge and strong, it seems that guards are losing their prominence. Of course, there are many talented guards. Only have to look at the recent MVP award winners to see which positions are the most important in the league. Edwards has a chance to do something truly unique. The glorious golden generation that the NBA enjoyed during the 2010s is coming to the end of its run. Players like LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, James Harden, and Kawhi Leonard's days in the league are numbered. In this process of talent regeneration, players of all positions are needed to replace them and become the face of the NBA. However, many of these attempts have been unsuccessful, either by not having enough talent to become a player with generational potential, or by not having the right mentality. Anthony Edwards has arrived to fill that role without a second thought, without a hint of doubt. There's no one who wants glory more than he does. There's no one more convinced that he deserves a place on the Mount Rushmore of his generation, not just in the NBA. Anthony Edwards also has an incredible opportunity to become one of the most important players on Team USA. He's earned his place as one of the 12 guys picked for this year. After this last dance of one of the best generations in history, the United States will need a man with the necessary boldness to be the leader of the team and carry it forward. Not many players are capable of carrying such a big responsibility, but Anthony Edwards has shown that he can. With sky-high self-confidence, nothing is out of reach. Nothing is impossible. He didn't follow the normal timeline of player development, starting to play basketball much later than the rest. He didn't respect the hierarchy of the locker room when he came to the Timberwolves, setting himself up as a young leader on a team in need of a mentality like his. He didn't respect the rules of advanced statistics, developing a style of play that feels like a modern adaptation of basketball of 2 decades ago. Ant-Man has revived an art form that appeared on the verge of extinction in the modern, analytics-driven NBA. With his silky footwork, solid mid-range game, and array of fades and bank shots, he's the second coming of an iconic era when shot-making wizards like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant ruled the league. Atlanta's uncompromising streets forged Ant's mental toughness and tenacity. It's this unbreakable spirit and mastery of a forgotten craft that will lift Edwards to stardom and etch his name among the legends who inspired him. The torch is not being passed willingly. He's snatching it with both hands and setting the league on fire with his brilliance.